Thank you, Eric. So first of all, I will not try to fill Krishna's shoes. They are really too big for me. But I will try to do my best. All right, so I just wanted to quickly follow up on what Eric said. So Eric, you covered so many things that were in my slides, so you made my job much easier. So we have a lot of participation. There's probably, I generously count 50 people here, but as Eric said, that's how we start. And by the time the real talks start in about 15 minutes, I think there should be a lot more people. I also want to call out, for the first time we have representation from a number of universities. I've listed a few of them here. I don't know if I've captured all. And then we always have a strong contingent from industry and from the government as well. Okay, so agenda-wise, there's one switch because Doug could not make it early enough. He just got to town. So we swapped Doug's talk with Alex Icon's talk. But we'll talk more about the speakers and the talks as the symposium starts. Okay, so I want to give you a snapshot of some of the activities that happen in MICDE. We've not had this for over COVID, but I will still keep it to the last year. There's a lot that's been happening behind the background. And Eric did mention this version of MICDE that was founded in 2014 under his and Krishna's leadership. So it was the spark that Eric sort of lit, and then Krishna did an incredible job taking it forward. So almost all of what we see here is I would say, Krishna's work. But even before that, Michigan has had a long history in leadership in scientific computing, all the way back to 1967 when we got our first virtual memory machine. But 1986 was a landmark year for us. That's when the Laboratory for Scientific Computing was established with the goal of fostering teaching and education in scientific computing related disciplines. And Bill Martin was the director. And 2004 is when Ken Powell from Aerospace continued that leadership. So the PhD in Scientific Computing program, which we're very proud of, was actually founded in 1988. It got governmental approval at that time. And if I'm not mistaken, it is the very first program of its kind in the United States, but that's not new for Michigan. There are many, many firsts that we can claim. And yeah, the last thing I do want to mention is when Krishna started his tenure in 2014, 2015, there were about 25 students in the PhD in Scientific Computing program, and now we have about 150. So I just want to mention that. Okay, and as Eric mentioned, we have about 150 faculty who are affiliated with MICDE from 37 departments, majority from the College of Engineering, but representation outside, as you can see, is increasing. Quickly, broad words on mission, right? So our mission is to advance new paradigms and application of computational science to enable scientific discoveries and engineering innovations. And we seek to define a future in which computations do not just enable innovations or enable scientific discoveries, but directly drive them and also serve as a generator of knowledge. And more specifically, the current MICDE strategic thrusts are as follows. So the vertical pillars, as you see, are foundational methods. We have scientific machine learning, computational linear algebra, tensor methods, etc. We have focus in high-dimensional inference and optimization. We continue to focus on hardware, software paradigms, and co-design. Algorithms in quantum computing, not so much activity so far, but things are picking up. And then, of course, a new pillar in verification for computational science as well. And in terms of applications, we're very heavily invested in digitalization, digital twins, physics-based medical applications, national security applications, hypersonics is an example, energy and climate sciences, neuroscience, neuroengineering, and also nanoscale physics, chemistry, and engineering. So these are some of the application areas and some of the fundamental techniques that enable these areas. So these are some of our strategic thrusts. And again, very quickly, I do not have much time, so I can only do a superficial cover of our research, but I highly encourage you to participate in the poster session. We have about 60 posters from students and researchers across campus highlighting an amazing array of research. And in fact, I was looking through some of the posters, and they were so good, I announced there's going to be 5 prizes and not just 3. So please, around lunchtime, after your lunch or before, please go and look at the poster session. I'm sure they'll do a much better job than me flashing one slide on research snapshots. But I do want to highlight some, just give you an idea of what are the kinds of activities that are happening on campus. For instance, we direct an ARPA-E center, Professor Annalisa Monera from Nuclear Engineering, on basically digital twins for advanced nuclear reactors. We have a project, MURI, led by Professor Venkatraman, looking at turbulence chemistry interactions for high-speed reactive flows. And the third bullet is news as of yesterday or 2 days ago. Professor Xuan Huan, assistant professor in mechanical engineering, he is just the PI of a 2023 MURI on decision-making under uncertainty for DoD installations, taking into account climate change. So that gives you an idea of some of the larger projects. We're also very happy and proud that some of our younger faculty are getting career grants. Professor Kochina Su, you'll hear from later in the day, and Professor King, who also got an NSF grant. And one of the major initiatives on campus, also led by Eric Mikkelsen, we have a very strong presence in EVs and electric mobility. And batteries are, of course, a trending topic on campus, and it turns out that there's a DARPA program on morphogenetic interfaces. It's called the MINT program. And it turns out that all 3 teams have a very significant Michigan presence, are somewhat led by Michigan. So I thought that was notable. And in terms of scale, there were about 81 grants awarded in 2022 related to various aspects of computational science. And about 16 of these were initiated by MICDE. The other thing I want to highlight is MICDE also gives out catalyst grants. So these are smaller order 100K grants to promising ideas that emerge from collaborations across campus. So this is seed money to foster a research area and then see it grow. And our vision is, so this becomes a large research activity on campus, externally funded eventually and sustainable. So every year we award between 4 and 6 of these, and we've been doing this since 2015. There are about more than 30 Catalyst grants awarded so far. So last year, Catalyst grants were awarded to faculty doing computer vision for classification of animal behavior. We have multi-scale modeling for dislocation obstacles, tensor networks, becoming a very hot trending topic across campus. You'll see a few posters in the poster session, and also crystal graph neural networks for electrocatalysis. So this gives you a snapshot of the kind of research that is growing on campus and will continue growing. I do also want to mention, okay, this was not particularly 2022, maybe a little earlier as well, but papers continue to be published. So MICDE faculty responded to COVID in many different ways. There was a lot of work done, a lot of actual research and a lot of actual experiments done to help our COVID response. I'm just highlighting 2 papers where faculty have looked at, how particles disperse when you have a cough. How to look at COVID-19, potential COVID-19 transmission in a public transportation system, etc. So just a few quick response type things. Eric did a nice job on the education, so I won't spend much time. I will give you some numbers. As I said, the PhD in scientific computing, which is a joint degree, so students are affiliated with a home department, and then they do some extra required courses, and there are additional scientific computing credentials they have to satisfy. So they will get a PhD in scientific computing plus X if they satisfy those criteria. And it's, again, very broad representation from across the university. About half of scientific computing PhD students are engineers. The rest come from other units. and the graduate certificate in computational discovery. So this is more targeted towards master's students, but also some PhD students. And we have about 112 alumni in this program and about 26 current enrollees. And a newer program, which is in collaboration with the neuroscience graduate program, where we have about 10 students so far who are enrolled and 3 have graduated. So these are the 3 major programs, and you can learn more about this as the day goes on. And in addition, MICDE also offers top-up fellowships to incoming graduate students as a way for to attract students, and also fellowships for students who are already at and they're doing notable research in computational science, right? So these are typically top-up fellowships of about $4,000, et cetera. And there are not many strings attached. One of the requirements is you present posters at the MICDE symposium. I think that's pretty much the only requirement. And yeah, over the past 8 years, we have awarded about 160 fellowships. And if you want to get a sense of what the incoming class looks like from last year, again, it's about half in engineering and again, the rest across the college. And these are our newest MICDE fellows, and many of them are probably already preparing their posters for the poster session. So please do check it out. And again, Eric mentioned this. So we had incredible leadership. I should not claim any credit for any of the slides that I showed earlier. I was just there when the team was led by Krishna was doing amazing work. I was an associate director in this period. Krishna, there's a typo here, has been leading us for the past 7 years. Also, Mariana Carrasco-Teja, so she did an amazing job with day-to-day activities of running the center, and Sichian Shen as well. So the current core leadership is Professor Monica Valuri, so she's a research professor in astronomy, and Wancho Kochevsky, who is somewhere here. This is literally his first day on campus, so he's going to be the managing director of MICDE, managing the day-to-day activities. In fact, this is day -1. I think you start tomorrow. So welcome. And I do want to say none of this would be possible without the amazing support that's given by Sarah MICDE, who runs all these educational programs that I spoke about, and Esther Haseli, who's my real boss. Yeah, it's not you. All right. With that, I also want to thank the Education and Management Committee. So it's not a team of 5 that can do anything without, especially to run the PhD programs, to make decisions on investments, decisions on catalyst grants. So we're aided by an Education and Management Committee that is composed of faculty from all over the university, and of course the support of the Executive Committee with Dr. Rebecca Cunningham, who is the Vice President for Research at the Deans of Engineering and the College of Literature, Sciences and Arts, and of course Brad Orr helps us on more on a day-to-day basis. Okay,